What's up, Dragon Brood? We are going to be taking a look at more Crimson Vow deck lists leading up to the release of the set, and this is something we do every release. So for the next, I don't know, whenever you're watching us, like another 5 days, we'll be putting up multiple deck lists every day. So you know what that means? It means you need to subscribe and be sure to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications whenever we send these deck lists out. The goal is for everybody to be able to find something they can play in those first couple of days without having to do all the work, because I'll do it for you. It's that simple. But right now, we're going to be talking about Monohlack Aggro. It's taken a bunch of different forms over the last few sets, and this time I think we have a few tools that got released that allow us to do just something a little bit different, which could be pretty cool here. So let's hop right on in and take a look at Monohlack Aggro with Crimson Vow cards. Now, first off, please don't forget that you will be able to download this list in the description. The link will be there. It takes you to my Aetherhub link so you can see my deck. Matter of fact, you can see all the decks we put out in these videos to that point. Also, if you want to come talk about these decks or have some input on them before we put them in the videos, you can check out my stream links. Those are in the description as well. And you can come by the Discord if you want to chit chat about stuff. Also, fun thing, I have memberships on the YouTube channel now. So if you become a member, for just 99 cents a month, you can vote on what order and what things are going to appear here on the channel. So if there's things you want to prioritize early in the season, well, people are going to get to vote on that. So check that out too. All right, starting at the top. Again, this is an aggro deck, so we need to have some, I guess, cheap and efficient things is the best way to describe it. So we're starting with Dungeon Crawler, which is a 1 mana, 2/1. Comes into play tapped. But you know what? Seems fine. Like, not much else we can really do it, but it's a 2/1, and it's the best thing we have for 1 mana. It sucks that it comes into play tapped, but being a 2 power is really where we want to be here. It just allows us to fight just that much better. Now, it does have the clause that if you complete a dungeon, blah, 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 but we don't have anything for dungeons. We're playing 3 Ecstatic Awakener. And this is a card that kind of gets overlooked, and I put it in a deck early last season. But it's a 1 mana, 1/1. You can pay 2 colorless and a black, sacrifice another creature. You draw a card, and then you transform Ecstatic Awakener, and it becomes a 4/4. This seems a little convoluted, but it is a 1/1, so you're not spending a ton of mana, and it's fine. But if you draw it later in the game, it's like now you're not sitting on a 1/1. You're like, okay, cool, let me get rid of some of this junk that's not doing anything. Turn it into a 4/4, and now I have a formidable creature to fight with. And the upside is it does let you get a card. A fun thing about this too is that because you don't have to use the ability as an instant, you can go ahead and just play like normal. If your opponent goes to remove one of your other creatures, you go ahead and pay 3, sacrifice it, draw a card, and you flip this into a 4/4. So it's actually a fairly efficient card. Then we're playing 3 Forsworn Paladin. This is a 1/1 for 1. Again, not exciting, but it does have Menace, which is great. You can spend life to make a treasure, which could be good later. We do have some things we can spend mana on, and we're kind of skimping on mana a little bit in this list, so that could help out. But also, you can pay a black and 2 colorless, give a creature +2/+0. And if you happen to spend a treasure for that, with that mana, you give that creature Death Touch. So just being able to give something +2/+0 that sneaks through is also really good. Now, one of the new cards we're playing 4 of in here is Graph Reaver. It's a colorless and a black 3/3 exploit. When it comes into play, you can sacrifice a creature. If you do, it destroys a planeswalker, which is awesome. So it kind of gives you a little extra removal there. But at the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 1 damage to you. Seems like a little bit of a downside, but it's a 3/3 for 2 mana. We like that. It can go to war with a lot of things. We love it. But we have some things that are make losing life not so bad. So just hang in there with me for a second, because we are playing 4 copies of Infernal Grasp. Yeah. So we're playing the Graph Reaver and the Infernal Grasp, costing us life. Infernal Grasp, if you don't know, destroy target creature, lose 2 life. But that's because we're playing 4 copies of Scourge of the Skyclaves. Now, Scourge of the Skyclaves is a colorless and a black, XX, where X is the power and toughness is equal to the highest life total of the players in the game. Well, if you're attacking your opponent efficiently, bringing their life total down, and then you are also draining your own life total, well, then there's a good chance you're going to be playing Scourge of Skyclaves as like a 2 mana 5/5 or 2 mana 7/7, right? It does have the additional thing that if you pay 4 and a black in addition to its cost for kicker, then players lose half their life, round it up, blah, blah, blah. That's all fine and good. But we're rarely going to do that in this list. If we do, it's just because the game went forever late and the situation worked out. But realistically, we're just playing this as a really efficient 2 mana creature, which we like in here. It's going to be great. Then other new cards we're playing. Voldaren, Bloodcaster, we're playing a full set of 4. As I was building, and I have a vampire list coming too, but as I was building that list, I came to the reality of that this is probably one of the best cards you can play. It's a 2 mana, 2/1 that flies, and if you have stuff that dies, well, then you go ahead and get more blood tokens. And blood tokens basically say everything gains cycling, if you want it to. So that's actually really good too. So can't be too upset about that. I think it's pretty awesome. And then you possibly flip it, it's a bigger creature, and then you turn your blood tokens into bats, right? So it's just bonus material for this card, which is great. However, also in that line of being able to play some blood tokens, we have Falconwrath Forebear. It's a 2 colorless and a black 3/1 flying. Downside is it can't block, so that's a little unfortunate. And actually, I will say this. Because we're playing the Forebear, I tried to squeeze in the Skyclave, whatever, the 3/1 that can't block, but you can play it out of the graveyard if you play a land. I wanted to play that, but the problem is we would have ended up with too many creatures that don't block, so we just couldn't do it. So something had to give. So I'm playing 4 Falconwrath Forebear, mostly because they're a 3/1 flyer versus the other one just being a 3/1 ground creature. Whenever this deals damage to an opponent, you make a blood token, and then you can sacrifice 2 blood tokens and pay a black mana, and you return this from your graveyard. So it's a good recursive creature that's hard to block. Definitely want to go with that. We're playing 2 Graveyard Trespasser. This is mostly, really this is doing 2 things. Like, if we need to get a point or 2 to kind of adjust our life total depending on the game state, we can do that. It also lets us remove problematic cards from the opponent's yard because we know there's going to be disturbed stuff. We know there's flashback stuff. Like, we want to be able to deal with that. Even the Leer decks, there's cards you just don't want them to have access to. This can help with that quite a bit. Then we have a couple of Hand of Vecna because, again, if you don't know, Hand of Vecna, 3 mana artifact from Forgotten Realms. At the beginning of your upkeep, at the beginning of combat, sorry, on your turn, equipped creature gets +X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. You can either pay 2 to equip it, or you can pay 1 life for each card in your hand. So obviously, if you have like 3 cards, you can pay 3 life, put it on a thing. If it's a Scourge of Skyclaves, haha, that's awesome, because it gets even bigger. So, love that. Then we're trying out 1 Mask of Gristlebrand because I've been wanting to put it in some lists and I haven't had a place to put it. But Mask of Gristlebrand is from the last set. It's a 2 black and a colorless legendary artifact. Equipped creature has flying and lifelink. Whenever equipped creature dies, you may pay X life, where X is the power. If you do, you draw a card. So the lifelink on this doesn't necessarily work well with the Scourge of Skyclaves. However, if we're connecting with something big enough, or it's just doing what we want it to do, or the Skyclave plan isn't working, this is another way we can go. So I just put it in there to try it out, give us some options. The reality is we're probably going to end up cutting it at some point, but I think it's at least worth exploring. And a lot of people already own them, so here's a chance to play with it. Now, one of the new cards is Blood Vial Purveyor. It's a 2 colorless, black, 5/6 vampire, flying trample. When an opponent plays a spell, they get a blood token, and then whenever you attack, it gets +1/+0 for each blood token defending player controls. Yes, the blood tokens are a downside. Like, just being 100% transparent there, but this is a 5/6 trampler. It flies. We're already getting a bunch of other flying damage in. We're already putting pressure on our opponents. I feel like this could just be the cleanup card, right? Get your opponent down to somewhere between 5 to 8 life, maybe 10 life, and then use this plus what's on the board to try to clean things up. Lands, we're going to be playing 4 Faceless Havens, 2 Hive of the Eye Tyrant, and then a bunch of snow-covered swamps because it's just mono black. What else do we need to do? So nothing too crazy out of the box there. It's kind of just doing what you want it to do. Now, realistically, that Mask of Gristlebrand is the one card we may actually end up pulling out, but I don't even mind trying it out because there are some situations where putting that on like the Blood Vial Purveyor or some of those other creatures could be really good, even when you don't have the Scourge of the Skyclaves. And I didn't want the whole game plan to be just about the Scourge. I wanted it to say, okay, if we get the draws where the Scourge is great, then awesome. Scourge is like a 6 or a 7 and it's fantastic. But on the times we don't, I wanted to still have other things we could do. So that's why the decisions were there. But again, if you want to check the deck list, it will be down in the description below. You obviously can't do anything with it until Crimson Vow is available on Arena. But hey, it's there if you want it. Also, don't forget, check out my other channels. Pretty please, I would love you to do that because I could use some more subscribers on my other channel where I'm putting fun reaction videos. Otherwise, yeah, remember to check the memberships. Check out my other videos, links, come by, say hi at the stream, check out our Discord. But if nothing else, please remember to like and subscribe on this channel. Like the video, hit the subscribe button. It's really been lacking lately, so I need your help. If you're watching this and you appreciate these videos and you're really looking for more going into the new set and I'm doing all this work for you, show your appreciation by just hitting the like and subscribe for me. That's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.